one of the reasons why men use women for sex and, whatever else, validation, just being a dog to women, is that women are dogs to men. That really is the truth. It's kind of karma. You get what you put out. What goes around comes around, a lot of times in life. And I remember from, a lot of my relationships, or a lot of the times that I was hooking up with women and stuff like that, I didn't respect a lot of these women, and I really still don't, because of not only the way they treated me, but also because of how much games they play. What I saw women chasing after bad boys, women chasing after men with money, women being, materialistic, women being shallow, women not behaving correctly. I think, it's funny, and it's such a bad analogy because I don't want to be, and I know that women do this. They treat men like, you know, items that they're buying at the store. They want to get the best item. So I hate to do this analogy, but I'm going to do it. But a lot of times when you're shopping for a car, women aren't a car. I get it. They're a human being. They have feelings, blah, blah, blah. I understand all that, and I'm with all that. But you're shopping for a car. You want to get the best deal. You want to get the car with the lowest miles, the car in the best condition, right? And you want a good runner, and you want a car that has a little soul to it. You want a car that makes you feel good being in it. You want a car that looks good on the outside. Again, it's a bad analogy. Women are more than that. Yes, they're human beings, right? They deserve respect, right? But the truth is that they don't garnish a lot of respect because they've got too many miles, because they're not clean on the inside. They might look good on the outside, right? And that's what they use to manipulate the world, manipulate men to get what they want, whatever. That's their little currency. That's the currency that they use. But the truth is that a lot of them don't deserve respect, and a lot of them really are just they're not good on the inside. They got too many miles and they're not good on the inside. What a man really wants is he wants a solid woman who's not a slut. Doesn't mean she can't be freaky. Doesn't mean she can't enjoy sex. Doesn't mean you guys can't get together and really be intimate and whatever, do freaky stuff, whatever you want to do, right? Not saying that. There's a difference between a woman who is freaky with a loyal man, and there's a difference between a woman who's freaky with a lot of different men. Big difference there. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times what women do today is they, have this saying where, oh, don't you want a woman who's experienced? Don't you want a woman who really knows how to treat you well in bed? And this is BS. This is just propaganda, feminist crap to get men, to sucker naive men into getting with a woman who's got a high body count. The only men who buy into that bullshit are weak-minded men, liberal men, white knight feminist men with low options. If you got high options, or I should say, if you got good self-esteem, you're not going to settle for less. Hey, you know what? I deserve better. You know what? I'm not going to settle for this used goods crap, right? We just want a good woman. And at the end of the day, what's out there, So a lot of this, talk, oh, men are only, men just want sex. You don't really garnish anything else. Men use women because we get to a point where, like, here's the thing, like, and this is how pompous women are. This is how arrogant women are. They think that we're supposed to, that if they give us attention or they want to be in a relationship with us, that we're supposed to just drop everything else and just focus everything in onto that. And if we don't do that, then they're insulted, right? if we don't do that, then, oh, you didn't, I'm the prize, I'm the woman, and you didn't kowtow to my every expectation. You didn't drop your life to be with me. This isn't true love. This isn't romance. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, by the time a guy gets a girl, he's been through so much crap with women. He's been through hundreds and thousands of rejections. He's been through bad relationships, bad hookups. He's been ghosted. He's been told, sorry, I'm just not interested in you thousands of times. He's been told, you are not good enough for me thousands of times by all these pompous women. So by the time he gets a girl who's actually interested in him for a relationship, it's not that great. It's just like, I know what your gender's all about. I know what you're all about. I know how you act when you're not with me. I know how you have treated the guys who you dated before me or who you weren't interested in before me, because I was that guy with another girl. And women don't understand that this is karma. Women don't understand that men are not dumb. And they think we're dumb. They think we're like dogs. They think we're like animals, that we can just be trained. And, he's supposed to hop to my every whim and my every desire. Men are not stupid. We see through your facade. We see how you act when you're not around us. We see how you act with other men. We know that you're out there sleeping around. We know that you're out there rejecting men like crazy. We know how arrogant and narcissistic you've become in this social media world. So really, it's not that, this is where women get it twisted. It's not that just because a woman is interested in a man, he's all in. Oh, finally I got one interested in me. This is what women think. They think, well, these guys are so hard up for sex. Most of them are incels, because that's the environment we've created, because we're only sleeping with the top 10% of men. Women know what they're doing. They know deep down. They just are deceptive. They're subtle. They're not going to give away their plan. A lot of people think they're stupid or stupid, but a lot of people think that women are just naive. They don't really know what they're doing. They're childlike. To some degree, that's true, but women know. Women know. And if they don't know, I mean, I guess there's a difference between knowing and being self-aware. They're not self-aware in the sense that they're wise. In the sense that, like, there are some women who are, but it's very rare. Very rarely you'll come across a woman who's self-aware, where she's like, damn, men really are, men are really getting a bad deal. Men are getting a bad hand, and all of this. Some women are aware of that, but it's very rare. Most women are naive, but they're not dumb. They know what they're doing, in the sense that they know that they're creating a scarcity. The reason why women have power in the dating market is because of scarcity. Men are not in abundance, right? The only men who are in abundance are the top 10% of men, period. The only men who are in abundance are the top 10% of men. And women know this. So they know that they're sleeping around with the top tier men. And they know that the nice guys, the average guys, the other 80% of men are not getting, to have options. They're not getting laid. They're not getting relationships as often as the top tier men. It's a very skewed ratio, probably. I don't know what that is, but the average man is very hard up for sex, very hard up for a relationship, and women know this because they've created this environment. They've created this scenario. So when a woman comes to you and she's like, oh, here I am, she thinks you're just going to be like, wow, I finally got a woman. And this is the game that they play. Okay, I'm going to go sleep with my bad boys. I'm going to go chase Chad. Then I'm going to come around and I'm going to settle for the nice guy. And he better hop to it, right? He better hop to it, because I know he's hard up. I know he's not getting laid. I know he's he should jump right to it and just fall in love with me, and they get insulted if you don't. Well, I guess a lot of men do, unfortunately, and which is why, there's that quote that says, the massive men lead lives of quiet. Um, what is it called? The massive men lead lives of quiet. Oh, I forgot the word. Of quiet desperation. There we go. I forgot who quoted that, but the massive men lead lives of quiet desperation, because most men just are weak. Most men just they don't have abundance. Here's the thing: even if you don't have abundance, it doesn't mean you have to be weak. Just because you don't have a lot of women around you doesn't mean you have to be unconfident. You can still be confident. You can still rock it. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you got to be weird and like, oh yeah, I'm rocking it, even though obviously I'm, not desirable. I'm still out here with this weird, quirky confidence like Zach Galifianakis or, fucking Jack Black or somebody. Like, you don't have to be that weird, but you can still have a quiet confidence about you, and meaning know your worth. Right? A lot of men settle for crappy women, settle for subpar women, because they're in scarcity mode. And you don't have to be like that. Here's what I say. And here's my point of this whole video, is that know the truth and let that guide you. The truth is that most of these women are not worthy. Most of these women are not, they're not up to par. And they think by creating this scarcity environment that they can just pick and choose who they want. So once it's time to settle down, when she's had her fun, she hit the wall, hit her epiphany phase, ready to settle down and be a wife and find love and romance, blah, 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 she's going to come settle with some beta. She's going to come, quote unquote beta, some nice guy, some average dude. Maybe he's not a beta. It's not the point. Excuse me, I shouldn't have said that. But she's going to come settle down with some nice guy, some docile guy. And yeah, actually a lot of times he is a beta, because if you accept some high mileage woman, some woman on the inside who, some woman who on the inside is not good, her engine's not good, right? She might look good on the outside, but she's got a faulty engine. She requires a lot of maintenance to maintain. It's not a good deal. Again, when you're shopping for a car, you want a low mileage car with a good engine that's going to be a good runner, and it's going to look pretty good on the outside. That's it. So a lot of men will actually compromise looks. And I talked about this ad nauseum before, but don't go for looks necessarily. A lot of sucker men will just be like, oh yeah, she's hot, so I don't care about her past, or she's hot, so it doesn't matter how crappy of a person she is. Yeah, you want to be with an attractive woman, and women want to be with attractive men. It just goes without saying. But you want that quality. Where can you find that? And here's the thing, if that was an option, I think men would just take it. Women have this projections, always this lies, right? These lying projections. Oh, men will sleep with anything. Men are just, men will take anything they can get, and da-da-da-da. It's, it's always projection. But the truth is that, women are the ones out here sleeping around. Women are the ones out here sleeping with multitudes of men, doing dirty stuff, because they got the option to do so. I'm not saying men aren't doing that too. Men are doing that too, but we don't have the options, right? If we just had a woman to come around and be like, I'm a good woman, I'm honest, I'm truthful, I got a low body count, I got morals, men would settle down. Women act like men are always cheating, men are always, again, it's projection. Men are always sleeping around. Men want to settle down. Absolutely, men want to settle down. And if you're it's either A, projection, or B, those are all the men that you're interested in. Yeah, all the chads and all the bad boys that you're interested in are sleeping around and cheating on their girlfriends. But there are good guys out here who do want love, who do want marriage, who do want commitment, who do want to be with one partner, who do want romance, who do want to bring you flowers, who do want to memorize your favorite color and remember your birthday and write you poems and whisper sweet nothings and have good communication with you and be all good and good. But you're not attracted to all that. You're not attracted to those type of men until way later, after you've ridden the cock carousel. I'm convinced that women do this. They and I've been convinced of this for like 20 years, but maybe not that long, but almost 20 years. They put this bullshit lie out there. They're like, oh, women are so oppressed. I'm so oppressed. Guys are just meh. Guys are always cheating on me. And guys are always, they do that. And then they go chase the exact type of toxic guy that they're mad at. They do that. And then they go sleep around with a bunch of dudes. They get all the sympathy points, right? Get all the sympathy points, cry about it, blah, blah, blah. And then just go do the very thing that sets them up, for a toxic relationship, sets them up for heartbreak, etc. And then they act like, oh, I'm such a boss bitch and I'm over it and he's so under me and all this crap, all this lies that they say to move on or whatever. These are toxic patterns that we witness and we see. So men see all this and they're just like, this is what you want me to settle down with? This is what you want me to, provide for? This is what you're giving me? This is what, you know what I mean? It's like, it's a bad deal. It's a bad deal. Men can recognize a bad deal when we see one. This is why men go MGTOW. This is why men are walking away. And this is why men don't respect women. This is why, like, again, it's happened to me a lot of times when I would meet up with a girl or whatever from a dating site or whatever, girls interested in me, or when I would start dating a girl, I'd always know in the back of my mind, she's on some bullshit, I never met one who I was like, wow, this one might really be different. This one might really have morals. This one might really be a good woman. It was always like, nah, she's got a high body count. I could tell, I slept with her on the first date, or like this, that, and the third. And she's got all these red flags. She's got all these tells of being a hoe. She's cheating or this, that, And especially even in hindsight 2020, you look back and you're like, wow, yeah. Because in the moment, a lot of times it's just passionate and like, you're kind of blinded because, the sex is good, or I met this new girl and it's all, your heart goes pump, pump or whatever. But looking back, you're like, man, let me count the red flags. Man, let me, you look back and you see all this light and you're like, damn, she was really not a good person. She was not a good woman. And I'm glad I didn't end up with her. A lot of times I'm just glad. In fact, there's really not many I regret. I mean, there's some that I regret, in the sense that, like, I had a great connection, the sex was great. And there's one or two where I felt like, that could have been the one. But then, like, I think of all the crap she did, or I think of, like, how incompatible I would be because of this, because she was and a lot of it is ruined because of modern feminism, because of how modern women really are. A lot of women have a lot of potential, and sometimes I get, I don't know if depressed is the right word, but I get sad when I think about how much potential some of these women had with me. There's one or two in particular that I was just like, man, we could have had such a great relationship if she just wasn't like that, if she just didn't do those things. She had so much potential. And I look at her now and I'm like, dang, man, she really fell off, or like, she's not the person who I thought she was, or she changed into this different person. A lot of times women will change. They could be this great person, but then, then they end up with this dude and they change. Or like a lot of times women just have to settle. They end up with some certain type of guy and they're like, well, he's got a good job. He's got a house. I got to be this thing for him. And it's like, that's not who you really are. That's not who I knew. That's not who you were when you were with me. When me and you were together, we had this chemistry. We had this special bond. And to some degree, I also think that like our world is changing We're not as artistic, I guess, for lack of a better word, as we used to be. We're not as spiritual or soulful as we used to be. Humans, I think humans have, maybe it's porn culture, maybe it's social media, or maybe it's just the world is just in a weird place, but I don't see a lot of singing souls, so to speak, anymore. I really don't. I don't see a lot of singing souls anymore. I see a lot of people who are depressed, a lot of people who are kind of compartmentalized. I'm not saying that everybody's depressed, but it's just a different world. It's a different environment, I think, than it was, say, 10 years ago. Maybe politics, maybe world situations, things like that. But I mean, there's some things that are better in a way. There's some things that are worse, you know. Some things have gotten better. Some things have gotten cleaned up a lot more in certain ways. I don't want to go off on a tangent and talk about all that, but things have changed. Let's just say that things have changed. But a lot of times these women change too, and I don't know what it's becoming. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Really don't know, but it's kind of sad in a way because we've lost some of our soul. We've lost some of our humanity. We've lost a lot of our humanity, I think. It's almost like humans are becoming cyborgs in a way because we're so connected to our phones. And it's a double-edged sword. Like on the one hand, like yes, you learn a lot, there's great information, there's you know, wonderful things that you can see at the touch of a button. But there's also a lot of negative things you could see. There's also a lot of time that's being consumed in this machine. You know, I see people a lot and they're just walking around outside and they're not even looking around at the trees or enjoying, you know, the air or enjoying their walk or whatever. They're just looking at their phones and they're like cyborgs or like zombies, just looking like you're half human, half computer or something. Anyway, man, maybe I'm going off on a tangent here, but some women change. Some women change for the worse. Some people change for the better. Some people change for the worse. Some people change just because it is what it is. Yes, change is inevitable, but do you lose yourself in the process? I think that's the challenge, is that we don't lose ourselves in the process. Maybe we change. Maybe in a way you have to lose part of yourself, or you have to lose at least part of who you were. One of the saddest things that I think that I've somewhat experienced in my life is just losing the essence of who I was at certain points in my life, where I think that I had a good essence, where I think that I had something. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I don't know. You know, maybe that's a part of life and it's something that we're exploring in a completely different way than any other humans in time, because we have these tools now that nobody else ever had. We have this for lack of a better word, expediency, where we can get things that we want at a click of a button in seconds. In a day we can get it, and it can be at our door in hours. And these are crazy things that I remember in the 90s. I watched this movie, I forget what it was called, but it was with Sandra Bullock, and she ordered a pizza from a computer, and I was just like, what in the hell is that? I think it was like 1997 or 98 or something like that. I forget what that movie's called, but I just remember, the only thing I remember about that movie at all, I don't remember the plot, premise, anything. The only thing I remember is she ordered a pizza from a computer, and I just thought, that is insane. Not on a phone, on a computer. And computers were pretty new back then. You know, less than a decade later, everybody had a computer in their home, and people were ordering pizzas from computers. So there you go. But it's a weird world that we live in, man. It really has become a weird world. And I think we're changing, but I think we're losing some of our, a lot of our humanity, and we're becoming more computer-like. And I don't think that's a good thing. And I think one of the scariest things is that people aren't recognizing that it's happening. It's like, if you recognize it's happening, like, oh, wait, I lost that thing. I got to go find that. How do I get that back? How do I get that sense of community back? How do I get that sense of humanity back? How do I get that sense of family or relationship or bond back? Instead, people have relationships with their phones. I know I do, man. I'm on my phone all day, every day. It's weird. It's weird, man. Anyways, yeah, it's pretty sad with, a what women are forcing men to do, because they're really forcing us to not respect them. They're really forcing us to not respect them. Because what is there to respect? Yes, we might desire them. There's a difference between desire and respect. There's a difference between desire and respect. We might desire women, but doesn't mean we respect them, right? I don't know, man. I can't call it. It's a weird game. But anyway, I think women need to fix it. They need to say, all right, how are we treating men? How can we treat them better? How can we, you know, the thing is that we tell women what we want. Men will tell you what we want. It's just you don't want to be what men want. You want to be what you want to be, and that's fine. You have that choice. You have that freedom, absolutely. But you don't have the freedom of the consequences of your choices, right? That's not a freedom that you have. You can't control everything. You can't control how men view you. If men don't respect you and men don't love you, you can't control that. That is what it is. If a man wants a pure woman who's moral with a low body count, who's a good woman on the inside, who's got traditional values, who has a good character, and you're not that, he has the right to reject you. But then this is where women get mad, is they're like, oh wait, I can't have my cake and eat it too. Well, no, neither can men, because men are hemmed in and limited by what we have to offer, right? We're limited by what we have to offer to women, and women have very strict standards, very high standards. So men are limited as well. So women want all the benefits with none of the accountability, right? You just want to benefit in every way. And it doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. Yes, you might have the opportunity, the opportunities of abundance. You might have the opportunities of abundance. But what you don't have is you don't have that one man. It's like, when women say, oh, women sleep with who they want to and men sleep with who they can. Well, men marry who they want to and women marry who they can. A lot of times women can't find a good man for marriage, or at least the man that they want, the man that has that inner thing that they want. A lot of times women will just settle for a dude who's got money. And I see this a lot. It's just, you just have a transactional relationship, which is also like buying a car in a negative sense. Okay, I've got the money, let me go buy the car. Okay, well, I've got the sex, let me go find the man who has money. It's just an exchange. Well, that's not real love. And this is why so many relationships are passionless. This is why so many relationships today are just based on, whatever works. Oh, it works. He works. He's got the money. I come home. He's got the house. He comes home, and then we just have this thing that works. But where's the passion? Where's the love? You're not deeply in love with that man. It's just a kind of respect because he's a good man and he's docile. He doesn't cheat on you and he takes care of the bills and he's predictable and it is what it is. But you don't have that passion. And a lot of times, unfortunately, women mistake that passion for the bad boys. Well, that bad boy's not going to love you either. Or he's not, the good guy's going to love you, but there's no passion. And then you go with that bad boy and there's the passion, but he's not going to love you. So where's the in-between? Well, you got to find the good guy in between, the guy who gives you that passion, but who also is going to love you and not cheat on you. How do you find that? Well, it's certainly not by making an exchange of resources for intimacy, because that guy who really loves you and respects you and you have passion about, he's not trying to buy you. He's not out here like, oh, okay, I've got the money, now let me go get the woman. And a lot of guys are like that. They really view it, like you get on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or whatever and you look for a car. I got the money, now let me go look for a car. Well, I've got the money, now let me go look for a woman. Well, how can there be passion in something like that? How can there be passion in that? There can't be. We can't have passion in something like that. There's no real love in that. No, 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 no. It doesn't work like that. You got to find the right guy. How do you find the right guy? Well, it's certainly not just out here looking for the bad boy and sleeping around, and it's certainly not just out here looking for the guy with money and he's docile and he's paying bills. Okay, I guess I'll go with this guy. And then, oops, 2 years later, well, I just not really in love with him. Divorce, or well, I gotta stay in this marriage for the kids, or some crappy situation like that. Or you just love him, but he's just kind of boring. A lot of women love their men, but they're just not passionate about their men. A lot of women you can love somebody and not be deeply in love with somebody. You can love somebody and not like somebody. You can love somebody and not have anything in common, or not have good rapport, or not have good chemistry with that person. It means they're not the right one. Yeah, you love them, but they're not the right person for you. They're not the right one. And we're losing that. We're losing that ability. You know, a lot of people just settle, man. I'm telling you, a lot of people just, well, it's a good situation. I like my home. I like his house. He's a good guy. Sex isn't terrible. It's not great. It's not terrible. You know, it's not a lot of passion, but it is what it is. I guess I'll settle. It's the best I can get. I'll just take what I can get. It's just like, okay. You know, well, you sold yourself short. Consequences. And that's what it is. And that's what happens when you listen to the lies of feminism and you think you can just go do whatever you want to do and, you know, have your fun and have your cake and eat it too, but then you end up with some boring dude. Yeah, you might love him, technically, but I don't know, man. It's a cold game. But anyway, that's life. Gotta do better. Live and learn, but don't give up hope. All right. It's been Jay Lee. Thanks for listening. Peace.